Marietta Lanes in Marietta, Georgia. I'm Jane Schmidt along with Lisa Wagner. We made it through our first match, which is a eliminator type of match. Carol Gianotti-Block has advanced and is now going to take on Kim Adler. Carol Gianotti-Block just picking up right where she left off last season.
First match went through 9 frames until we really knew for sure who was going to win. So it was an exciting, close match.
Maybe a little slow after the break there on that shot. We are back to our normal format now. 2 bowlers only, bowling match play style.
And Carol definitely was a little bit slow that opening shot. As you could see by the amount of hook on the ball, left herself with a very tough spare. She wants to slide the 6-pin over to the 7. Does she not listen well?
You called that one, Lisa. Fantastic shot.
Just as I said, slide the 6 over to the 7. Could not ask for a more textbook spare.
What a reaction.
I don't know if that was disbelief.
First look here at Kim Adler. And a big break there, tripping out the 9-pin. Kim Adler from Las Vegas, Nevada, 5'5", age 31. Been on tour for 9 years.
And has improved every year that she's been out here.
In fact, she is now in the list of contenders for the Bowler of the Decade possibilities, even though she didn't bowl much in the first couple of years of the 90s. As I sit next to the Bowler of the 80s, Lisa Wagner.
Up the hill, come on now. All right, come on, covered up. All right, great shot there, come on now.
The voice you hear there is Jim Callahan. He's a fab ball representative. And her husband sitting next to him, Tommy Adler. We have now changed our rules on coaching. Coaching is allowed throughout the week, but had not previously been allowed during a televised finals. And that has been changed in order that you people at home can get some insight into what really happens at a tournament.
Oh, I think it's a great rule change. If we're going to allow it during the week, hey, let's do it on the show too.
Got it, girl. Good.
In the opening match, Carol Gianotti-Block defeated Carolyn Doran-Ballard and Kathy Doran. Carol Gianotti-Block had a 247, 218 for Carolyn Doran-Ballard, and 232 for Kathy Doran. Leaving a 10-pin there, and I must mention, because of the rules we had that you cannot finish more than 1 spot below where you qualified, even though Carolyn Doran-Ballard had the low game, she will finish up 4th, and Kathy Doran will finish in the 5th position for this tournament. She converts the spare, and we said she picked up right where she left off. We talked to her earlier, and Carol shared her feelings with us about being named Player and Bowler of the Year.
Yeah, it was a great achievement for me. I mean, it was a great honour to be named Player of the Year and Bowler of the Year. It was been one of my goals over the years, and just to achieve that goal, I think it's one of the most prestigious awards you can win in bowling. And to me, you know, over the years, I always remember that.
Come on, get in there. Hold it.
And I'm sure she will always remember that. And she trips the 9-pin. She'll remember that later today, too. But, Lisa, you can attest to that. You've been Bowler and Player of the Year many times.
There's so much hard work that goes into this. And it's just such a good reward. Here, this is a repeat of actually Kim Adler's strike. It looked like hers in the opening frame, tripping out the 4-9.
You think they put the wrong replay up? Nah,
that crew's too good.
No, producer Jim Townsend, director Kent Samuel, they're fantastic.
Come on. Up the hill. Good shot. There you
Big
go.
strike for Kim Adler. I mentioned her being in the Bowler of the Decade race. Here's the titles for this Magnificent 7, we're calling them. Tish Johnson, 14, Anne Marie, 14.
Carol Gianotti-Block, 13. Leanne Barrett and Wendy McPherson at 11. And there's Kim Adler at 10.
Now, if you had a fantastic year, you could sneak in there too, Lisa.
Well,
Are you planning on it?
I plan on having a fantastic year, yes.
Okay.
I worked a lot during the break. I worked a lot with Tommy Evans. I worked on making some game changing so I can try and keep up with these ladies out here.
Up the hill.
Wow, almost a 7-10 on that shot. It was a good shot, though, leaving a 10-pin. Notice she's removing her wristband there, Lisa. Why is she doing that?
So that the ball doesn't hook too much. She's also going to make a ball change to a ball that does not hook as much. You want the ball to do the least bit of hook that you can, so that you can have a bigger margin for error.
And just like you said, no problem with the spare there. It was interesting as we looked at those stats for Bowler of the Decade. When we talked to Carol Gianotti-Block last night, she said she really wasn't thinking about that. It really wasn't part of her game plan too much.
Well, I think she should be thinking about it. After the last few years that she had, I think it's a definite reality for her.
Come on. Ooh, almost tripping out the 8-pin. Jim Callahan coaching Kim Adler right now as Carol came off the approach, being very cautious not to distract the bowler up on the approach.
I would imagine he's probably just trying to maintain Kim's mental outlook in this. She's so focused of a player, and they're probably just trying to keep her focused and making good shots.
Carol Gianotti-Block trailing by just 1 pin through 4 frames. Both players clean, but not the strikes we saw last game.
A little bit different pace, too. When you're bowling quicker, sometimes when you do have a good shot, it's easier to keep striking. Plus, it is a semifinal match. They are one step closer to a title.
Rocking but not falling.
It's a very aggressive shot for Carol Gianotti-Block. And watch the 5 just barely miss the 7. Look at the pin spin. Just didn't want to fall down.
Come on, Jim. We're through 4.5. Who'll advance to the championship match? Toss a coin. It's anybody's match. Stay with us. We'll be right back. For the Greater Atlanta Open in the semifinal match, players bowled through a couple of frames here. Nothing really changed. Kim Adler now leads by 1 pin over Carol Gianotti-Block. Kim stepping up in the 8th frame, working on a spare. And Carol Gianotti-Block just looking down, not paying attention. She doesn't want to probably watch what Kim Adler's doing.
Sometimes it's better that way. If somebody gets a lucky break, you don't want to see it.
Coming up just a tad high, leaving a 4-pin on that shot.
Ball just does not want to trip it out. How high it is on the head pin. Sometimes you do get a break and trip that out. That's when you know it's possibly your day. That time just quite didn't. It's a fairly easy spare here. She is taking her time though, which is good. She doesn't want to give any pins away to Carol Gianotti-Block.
She looked like she was a little hesitant on where she wanted to stand with that spare. Covers it up, and with that 9 count and spare, it's now an even match as Carol Gianotti-Block steps up in the 8th frame.
Jan, look at the tape there on Carol's hand. Underneath that tape on the inside by her index finger, she has a callus that opened up, and it's been bleeding all week.
She comes up high there. It's very physically demanding, all the games the bowlers bowl out here. Probably 80 games at least a week with practice and pro-ams.
Plus all the practice that you do to get to this point when you're home.
But once you're out here, you really don't have a choice. You just grin and bear it and
That's right.
Cry about it later, because you have to make a check, you have to perform, you have to win.
Well, Carol has actually laughed about it this week. She'll take the tape off and you can see it bleeding. She'll laugh about it.
Oh, well, they're waiting on a ball return. As she just gets it back. Carol doesn't change balls. That's why she was waiting for it, to shoot her spare. Take a look at our other finishers, Dee Dee Davidson, who just missed out after finishing 2nd in our last 3 shows in '98. Brenda Norman is sitting beside me doing our stats. She did the wonderful job with your score for you there that first match. And Linda Kelly back out on tour. There you see the score now. Carol Gianotti-Block, by virtue of that 8 count, trails by 2 pins to Kim Adler. Carol stepping up in the 9th frame. Big foundation frame. Oh,
very bad break there. I think that's what you call a classic rollout. Watch the ball get down the lane. It's going to use up a lot of revs right now and then start to straighten out on the back end. A little confused there. She's not quite sure why she left a 5-7. It's not an easy spare either.
But we saw her pick up the 6-7 on the same lane.
Not a problem.
No problem for Carol Gianotti-Block. Getting an exhibition on spare shooting here.
She gets up, she takes care of business, sends the 5 right into the 7. Perfect way to make it.
What happened? I don't know what happened.
She's talking to herself.
Meanwhile, Kim Adler stepping up in the 9th frame leads by 4 pins, and she can step up and shut out Carol Gianotti-Block in the 9th and 10th. But not with that shot.
All right, come on, fill it up.
An errant shot by Kim Adler. Now she has a 1-pin lead.
Ball just sails out in the oil here. I think she got a little bit quick. Looked like she didn't have very good footing either at the foul line. And you see the ball just sail out to the right. Has no chance. She got a good break not leaving the 10-pin with that.
They're looking on, I think, trying to decide if they should say something or if they shouldn't. Oftentimes, that's a hard decision that coach has to make.
Cover it up. Uh-oh.
Okay, here's the situation. She leads by 1 pin. Both players working on a spare in the 9th, which means Kim Adler could throw 3 strikes right here to shut out Carol Gianotti-Block.
She'll take her time on these shots, but that is a good thing in this point. When you get down and you need 3 strikes, you know you have to make 3 of the best shots that you have all week.
Carol Gianotti-Block just looking on. Now, I've seen Kim in this position many times, and 9 times out of 10, she comes through.
She's going to throw it in the pocket, I can guarantee you that.
It's a good shot.
Yes, it was. Came up a little bit light. Left a 7-pin, but easy spare here, and she hasn't hurt herself too bad, so the count's still good.
We are all even here, and we could have a tie. If we do tie.
9th and 10th frame roll-off. 2 frames, that's it.
Okay.
Get down to business.
First business at hand is to convert this spare, and again, a little confusion on shooting the left-hand spare by Kim Adler. She steps off.
Well, from the very first game of any tournament, you will always see Kim do that on her spare. She's very consistent in her shot making like that. So you'll always see her count and make sure she's in the right position.
Okay. Come on, Kim, fill it up. Fill it up here, come on.
Jim Callahan still rooting on Kim Adler.
So looking at the rack right there, wanting to make sure that the pins are all properly on spot. It's a big shot here.
It is, because the strike here forces Carol Gianotti-Block to strike on her first ball. Ooh, and that was a disastrous pin count for Kim Adler. Now allowing Carol Gianotti-Block to just get good count and a mark. She does not have to strike. 9 spare 9 would be good enough. Oh my goodness, but that 6 count, that has lost the match for Carol Gianotti-Block. Spare strike would give her 190. Kim Adler, seated in the chair, becomes the winner.
On to take on Leanne Barrett for the championship.
Wow. And Carol has been in the pocket the entire time, leaving that 5-7 that last shot. Well, Kim Adler ends up winning the semifinal match, and she'll earn the right to challenge Leanne Barrett. But first, when we come back, we'll have the championship frame.